My name is Eric Pickles. I'm a member of the House of Lords. My title is Lord Pickles. I mean, it's equivalent to being a senator because America's not a parliamentary democracy. It's a congressional system. So it's similar.
You just had an election. You're a part of what would be the equivalent of the Republican Party. What was the election and what did it mean? What did you save the UK from a potential future of?
In many ways, it was about the soul of the nation. What happened was a bunch of extremists took over a very respectable mainstream political party, and it became fashionable to dislike Israel, and it made our Jewish community feel very unsafe. I know a number of friends in the Jewish community talked about if Corbyn won, they would leave this country. Now, I'm kind of used to people saying, well, if the Labour Party wins, I'm going to go. But actually, it suddenly occurred to me in August that they were actually deadly serious, and they were very frightened of a Corbyn-led government.
What would this bode for a Western country?
Well, I have to say the Conservative Party would regard itself as being a liberal party. What's happened with the Labour Party is it moved to the left. It became more of a socialist party. It was concerned with the nationalisation of a number of our vital industries and our services, and it was very illiberal in its nature.
So Boris was elected. Of course, Boris is a controversial. Prime Minister Johnson is a controversial figure, and similarly, the media has portrayed President Donald Trump as a controversial figure. How do you suppose people who may have voted as working class voters in the past, or liberal, socialist voters in the past, what's at stake now for the U.S. in your view?
Well, you only need to kind of fly over the United States to see that the Democrats hold a number of large cities, but not very much in between. And all political parties need to be able to represent the wider community. Now, the first presidential election I saw up close was 1980. When I arrived there were lots of conservatives who were involved with the Democrats and with the Republicans, and your political spectrum was rather narrow. It seems to have widened in recent years, and while there are still some conservatives who will be friendly towards the Democrats, the Conservative Party have tended to have closer contacts with the Republicans.
Would you have any advice for Americans in this referendum, what they call it, a plebiscite, essentially?
Well, it's a presidential election, and a limey should be very careful about offering advice to the home of the free and the brave.
Oh, I see. What's your experience been like here at APAC? This is your first time here?
No. This is, I think, my third or fourth APEC. It's now you're kind of coming home. You're meeting people that you see once a year. So we've had a very good time, and obviously we've used the opportunity to meet other friends concerned with anti-Semitism and pro-Israel. So yes, and Washington is one of the great cities of the world.
It's modeled. We're just aspiring to be like England.
Well, you had your chance, and you could have been just like England, but you rejected us in 1776.
Well, most people who think of a politician concerned about anti-Semitism would say, well, he's just getting donations from Jewish partisan donors, as opposed. And AIPAC, of course, is a lobby on behalf of Israel, but there's also an anti-Semitic aspect to it. Why should that be a concern to Gentiles, the majority of the culture?
Because what makes Britain tick, what is a fundamental part of the British identity, is the Jewish identity. Were we to lose that Jewish identity, we'd no longer have a proper British identity. And I think that's also true of just about any European country, and it's certainly true about the United States. We should never be in a position where any of our citizens feel frightened and don't feel at home in their own country. We saw what happens when something like that occurs. And a fundamental part of any government is to look after its citizens and make its citizens feel safe.
Which region do you represent?
Well, I had a parliamentary constituency in Essex, but anybody who knows anything about an accent will know that mine is a north of England accent. I'm from Yorkshire. Yorkshire are very distinctive people. They say you can always tell a Yorkshireman, but you can't tell him much.
Are you from the city of York?
No, I'm from a place called Keighley in the West Riding.
I see. And is that an area that's also typically concerned about anti-Semitism?
Hey, you make a really good point. I went out canvassing in a place called Penistone. It's never had a Conservative MP. Does have one now. And actually, I don't think it has any Jewish population. A Jew in Penistone is likely to be a Jew that's lost somewhere or is just stopping off. But on the doorstep, they would complain about Corbyn and they would say that something like this: well, look what he's doing to the Jews. That ain't right. I don't believe, we don't support that. And I think it had a kind of a cut through. There is a, there is a kind of a British sense of fair play. We like to think we have a sense of fair play, and it just wasn't right. And in a way, that's a much more effective way than me talking about British identity and the like. It is just not right. We just don't do that kind of thing. It's wrong.
Any famous Jewish people come from your region, by the way?
No.
And of course, Americans, we only know the British invasion musicians, so that it would have to be someone from, I guess, Liverpool or the Merseyside?
You just had a guy from Liverpool on a few moments ago, Lord Pollock. He's really the fifth Beatle.
If I had a camera